What's up? What's up, YouTube? Welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to rent cars to Uber and DoorDash drivers. Now, it's very important that we understand that there is two very distinctions between the two type of customers. Okay? So, I'm going to explain the difference between what Uber and DoorDash is. We're going to talk about the vehicle requirements, right? We're going to talk about the sign up rules. We're going to talk about how to screen the renters, the drivers properly, right? And then of course, we're going to talk about how much should you actually charge an Uber driver versus a DoorDash driver. Okay? So let's get right into the video. What is Uber and DoorDash? Well, Uber specifically is a ride share platform. That's just a fancy way of saying that Uber pays drivers to pick up people from point A to point B. Okay, very simple and easy to understand. Now, the drivers have to go through certain requirements before they can sign up for Uber, okay? Versus DoorDash, DoorDash pays the drivers to pick up items like groceries, food, sometimes packages from point A to point B, okay? So very different, all right? And I'm going to explain to you why this is very different. The first difference comes in the vehicle requirement because Uber has a lot more liability because you're picking up people. They have stricter requirement to sign up for their platform. Okay, so it's very important that you actually understand this as an operator because if you don't understand this, you're gonna make a very big mistake. And I'm gonna explain to you why. Okay, I'm dropping a lot of sauce for you. This is just for you. Okay, all right. So now, what is the vehicle requirements for Uber in most states? And you can check for your specific state on the Uber platform. Your car needs to be no older than 15 years old. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that 15 years old for some states it's 12, for some states it's 8, for some states it's 10. So make sure to check for your state so you don't come back saying, "Oh, you lied. It wasn't actually 15. It was 12." Yes, I know. Check with your state. Okay? Now, the vehicle requirement is there because Uber does not want cars that are too old because that's increased liability for them in the case of any accident. Okay? Now, for the driver to be able to sign up for the Uber platform, they need to be able to meet the vehicle requirement for the age. There is no vehicle requirements for miles. So what does this mean? That means it doesn't matter if the car has 50,000 miles or 250,000 miles, okay? Too many of y'all are making the mistake of buying cars caring about miles. Who gives a fuck about the miles? It doesn't matter. The miles don't matter, okay? Because it doesn't matter for the Uber platform. It sure as hell doesn't matter for the DoorDash platform because DoorDash has no vehicle requirement. Yes, no vehicle requirement. This means that you can give a 2008 Honda Accord to a DoorDash driver. Here's the mistake I see all y'all make. You guys are going to go buy a 2020 Honda Accord, give it to a DoorDash driver. Why? The driver will make the same amount of money driving DoorDash with a 2008 Honda Accord versus a 2020 Honda Accord. And you're going to spend an extra $10,000 for no damn reason to make the exact same amount of money as you would if you just spent three. Okay? Be a smart operator and make more money by buying vehicles and understanding the business that you're actually doing. Okay? Now, because DoorDash has no vehicle requirements, you can do DoorDash with a bicycle. You can. I've seen people try it. You can do a motorcycle. Hell, I've seen people try to do DoorDash walking. All right. So this is very important for you to understand. So you know that if you have a certain type of vehicle or you want to buy a certain type of vehicle, you need to know who to give that vehicle to. Because that leads me to the next step, the sign up rules. Okay. So in order for a Uber driver to sign up for Uber, they need to meet the vehicle requirement age. They need to do an inspection on the vehicle. The car has to pass a state inspection for your state. And as the operator, you have to be a good operator and do the inspection for your drivers, guys. Don't be that guy. Don't be that operator that you don't care about your drivers and you give them, make it harder for them to sign up for these platforms, make their lives easier, they're gonna appreciate you more. They're gonna bring more people to you, and they're gonna stay with you longer. So you do the inspection for the driver and just put it in the car along with your registration document. Okay. So they need a registration, they need an inspection, and then an insurance ID card. That's what they need to sign up for Uber. All right. So that's why it's important to have newer cars that are in better condition, so it's easier to pass inspection and yada yada yada. For DoorDash drivers, they don't need any of that. They need none of that. They just go on DoorDash, they sign up with their name. They can put the type of car they have on there, but it doesn't really matter, right? And then boom, they can start delivering and making money. All right. So what does this actually mean when it comes to screening the renter for which platform and which app, and then what type of car that you give them? All right. So before we continue, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. I give free game, free gems just for you. Okay. Yes, I know I'm a nice guy, but I'm doing it for you. Okay. So you need to understand that if you have certain types of cars, you need to give that car to the right person. For me and my business, if we have any car newer than 2014, 2015, we have to give it to an Uber driver. That's the way I train my team. It has to go to an Uber driver because I can charge the Uber driver more money. Okay? Uber drivers make more because they're delivering people. They get paid more from Uber, and they're more likely to get tips than a DoorDash driver. Okay, so I charge my Uber drivers anywhere from $450 to $550 a week, depending on the car I'm giving them. Okay, so it's very important. You want to maximize the vehicles that you have. Now, if I have any older cars, anything 2012 or older, 2013 or older, I'll give that to a DoorDash driver. Okay, because the DoorDash driver may not make as much money, but there's no rules for the type of vehicle they can use. They won't care what kind of car they get. Okay, so I'll give them an older vehicle so that they can use that to drive DoorDash, and I'll charge them anywhere from $350 to $400 a week. Okay, so my older cars make pretty good money. My newer cars make even more money. Okay, and I don't buy any cars newer than like 2016 because there's no fucking point of going to pay extra money for a 2020, 2021 vehicle when that vehicle will make the exact same amount of money as a 2016 anyway. All right, so it's very important you understand that. Now, here's the main thing that a lot of you guys are going to forget that will happen. So, because Uber drivers put other people in their cars, they are more likely to take care of the vehicle because they want tips. They want to give the customer a good experience. They're not going to have the car smelling like weed. They're not going to have trash in the car. So that's why you also want to give them the newer, nicer-ish cars because they're going to take care of it more. If you give that to a DoorDash driver, all my DoorDash driver, I'm not going to lie, they smoke, bro. All my DoorDash drivers smoke weed. My car's coming back smelling like weed with trash in it. It's just part of the game. This is just part of the game that we're playing. They're paying me, $1,400, $1,600 a week. It's cool. I'll deal with those type of problems. $1,600 per month. Per week would be crazy, but per month, right? So, and I'll deal with those type of problems, right? Because if I have 10 cars for DoorDash drivers, you're making $16K a month. $16K a month to just clear smoke out of cars once they return. I'll take that, and hopefully you will too. Okay? So it's important that you understand that. That way you don't give the wrong cars to the wrong drivers. Now, when it comes to screening the drivers, right, you want to make sure that they can send you confirmation that they actually sign up for these apps. That's how you screen them. Okay, just tell them to send you a screenshot of their account, and they will. And then you can tell, okay, this person is driving for Uber, this person is driving for DoorDash. Very, very simple. All right, very simple, very straightforward. There isn't much else to that. Okay, now when it comes to how much should you charge them, I talked about it, right? Charge the Uber driver more. They're more likely to pay more anyway. And if you want to take it up a step, kick it up a notch, you can go for Uber Black and give them black SUVs, right? Now check the Uber Black requirements in your state, and you can charge anywhere from $600 to $700 a week with Uber Black because they're gonna make more money with Uber Black. They have certified vehicles like Escalades, Tahoes, Expeditions, cars like that. Yeah, those cars bring in big chicken. So you can charge them a lot more money for those. Okay. If you like this video, make sure you smash the like button. If you're ready to start your car rental business, if this sounds at all interesting to you, let's book a free strategy call. Let me see how I can help you. And I'll see you on the next video.